of what Caoimhe had to say there. A desperate attempt to highlight what is going on in Gaza, this symbolic aid flotilla. What's your reaction to what you heard?
Yeah, I think everyone should be relieved that this publicity stunt passed without incident. Aid is flowing into Gaza through the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It's one of the biggest aid operations in the world at the moment that has delivered, just in the pilot period, over 10 million meals worth of food. And this dangerous and reckless attempt to break a military blockade and deliver supplies into Hamas-controlled territory was safely intercepted, and hopefully Greta and her friends will be on the first flight out of Israel.
What do you say to them saying, yes, it is publicity, but it's not publicity for us. It's publicity and raising awareness of the people who are starving in Gaza and trying to put pressure on international communities to challenge, I suppose, the Israeli siege of Gaza that is leading to scenes that we're seeing on our news here all over the world, Eylon, of emaciated, malnourished children and men and women in Gaza.
Well, as a publicity stunt, it's tone deaf. Greta Thunberg calling herself kidnapped, saying she's been kidnapped as there are 55 real hostages in Gaza now who are being starved and haven't received a drop of humanitarian aid from the United Nations. Really shameful, tone deaf, and shows zero self-awareness on her part. If they want to deliver humanitarian aid, the Israeli forces that intercepted the boat told them they'll hand over the humanitarian aid and it will be allowed into the Gaza Strip through the established channels. That's why Israel is working together with the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to make sure that aid can reach the people who need it and make sure that Hamas cannot steal it. The problem with the existing aid distribution mechanism is that Hamas has been able to intercept it in order to finance its war machine. And the new aid distribution system is meant to get aid directly to the people who need it. They've already handed out over 10 million meals worth of food and make sure that Hamas cannot keep taxing it and diverting it in order to prolong this war it started a day longer.
Okay, well, there are about 2 million people living in Gaza. That's just 5 meals each for people who are starving. I would imagine that much more is needed. But, I mean, the Gaza Humanitarian Fund has been accused of a couple of things, of weaponising aid by the positioning of those aid centres. And indeed, we have seen people queuing for aid who have been killed. They've been fired upon.
Yeah, it's not surprising that we're seeing opposition to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, because it is trying to break the monopoly of existing agencies on aid distribution, an existing system that has been seriously compromised by Hamas in order to continue paying the fighters who are starving the hostages right now. And what Israel is trying to do now is to create a balance between the humanitarian needs of the population who need food and the security needs of Israel to make sure that Hamas cannot keep resupplying itself. So I don't really understand the allegations about weaponizing aid. This is food that is being delivered free of charge to people. We've seen videos of people who are shocked that the food is free because so much of the humanitarian aid that was delivered ended up being sold to them at extortionate prices because it got intercepted along the way. And I think governments that want what is good for the people of Gaza will get behind this initiative to make sure that aid is delivered directly to people who need it and it can't be intercepted along the way.
And Eylon, you say you don't understand some of these accusations. Do you not understand, though, that when people see, I suppose, scenes on their news bulletins of emaciated children who clearly are not members of Hamas because they are children, they are small children, that strikes them as this is a war crime, that this is people being starved, ordinary civilians being starved in the current situation in Gaza, and people don't like it. People do not support Israeli actions in that regard, irrespective of how they feel about the politics between Hamas and Israel.
Israel's actions in the war have been to admit over 1.3 million tons of aid, of food aid, into the Gaza Strip, into enemy-held territory in the course of the war. That food should be ample to feed the population, despite knowing that Hamas has been diverting it. And if there are concerns that aid isn't reaching the people who need it, I think that's all the more reason to get behind an initiative that is delivering aid directly to people who need it without any of the aid being siphoned off by Hamas or criminal gangs along the way.
That is former Israeli government spokesperson Eylon Levy.